Nobu charges $49 for one piece of miso black cod, and it's number one of 28 Japanese miso tricks your cookbook banned. Your miso soup tastes flat, your marinade burns, your tub went dark in the fridge, and Japanese home cooks have been quietly ignoring every one of those rules for generations. Number 3 is the one that'll make you angry, nobody told you sooner. Number 28, keep your miso in a cool cupboard instead of the refrigerator. Every tub sold in America says refrigerate after opening, so people treat fermented soybean paste like yogurt, and cold miso is stiff and hard to dissolve. Wipe the rim, seal the lid, and keep it under 75 degrees and out of direct sun. Standard miso runs about 12% salt at a pH near 5, which pulls the available water so low that spoilage organisms cannot grow. If your tub says low sodium or nama, that one does need the cold. This is how Japanese households kept one crock going for years before refrigerators existed. A few of these I learned from my grandma Yuki, who never explained a single one of them. Number 27, stir the dark liquid on top back in instead of pouring it off. Most people see that pooled brown layer, assume something has gone wrong, and tip it down the drain. Take a clean spoon and work it back through the paste until the color is even again. That liquid is tamari, and it is where fermentation has concentrated the free amino acids that make miso taste like miso. Pouring it off throws away the most flavorful ounce in the container. Japanese cooks have always stirred it back because a tub that separates is a tub that is working. Number 26, press plastic wrap flat against the paste before the lid goes on. White miso that starts out the color of buttercream turns muddy brown within a month, and everybody blames the fridge for it. Tear a piece of wrap slightly larger than the tub, lay it directly on the surface. Smooth the air pockets out with your fingers, then close the lid over it. That darkening is oxidation, and it only happens where paste meets air. So removing the headspace removes the reaction entirely. This is why every miso shop in Japan packs its tubs with a sheet pressed right onto the surface. Number 25, keep a second tub in the freezer, because miso never actually freezes. People assume they will be chipping at a solid brick, so they never try it. Put a sealed container straight into the freezer, leave it at 0 degrees as long as you like, and scoop it with a normal spoon. The salt load and the alcohols produced during fermentation depress the freezing point far below anything a home freezer reaches, so the texture stays soft. This is how restaurants hold expensive aged miso for a year without losing a thing. So that is storage handled. Now the bowl, because this is where most of the damage gets done. Number 24, 1 tablespoon of miso per 1 cup of dashi, and that is the entire ratio. Most home cooks eyeball it, land somewhere between weak and briny, and never make the same bowl twice in a row. Measure it once, a level tablespoon to 1 cup of liquid, and taste before you adjust anything at all. That ratio puts the bowl near 0.9% salinity, which is the concentration people consistently rate as correct rather than salty. This is the number every Japanese restaurant kitchen works from, and it is why their soup tastes calibrated instead of accidental. Number 23, take the pot off the heat before the miso ever touches it. Boiled miso soup smells like nothing and tastes vaguely of salt. And this one mistake is responsible for most of the disappointing bowls in America. Bring your dashi up, kill the burner, wait about 30 seconds, then add the miso once the liquid has dropped below 180 degrees. Miso's aroma lives in volatile esters and alcohols that yeast built over months of fermentation, and a rolling boil drives every one of them straight into the air. This is why a Japanese cook adds the miso last and carries the bowl to the table immediately. Number 22, dissolve the miso in a ladle of hot dashi before it goes anywhere near the pot. Drop a spoonful straight into the liquid and you get a cloudy broth with pale lumps on the bottom, the visual signature of a beginner. Hold a ladle of hot dashi, add the miso to the ladle, and mash it against the side with chopsticks until completely smooth before pouring it in. Dry paste particles hydrate from the outside in and seize into a skin, so wetting each particle individually is the only way to get full dispersion. Restaurants keep a fine mesh strainer for exactly this job. Number 21, buy 2 misos and blend them, roughly 2 parts white to 1 part red. A single miso gives you a single note, which is why homemade soup tastes flat next to a restaurant bowl. Keep a tub of sweet white and a tub of aged red, and mix them in the ladle at 2 to 1 before dissolving. Red miso has spent a year or more building melanoidins through slow Maillard browning, while young white is still loaded with the sugar's koji enzymes made out of rice starch. This is what awase miso means on a menu, and it is the default in most Japanese homes. Number 20. Drop 1 dried shiitake into your dashi alongside the kombu. A dashi built on kombu and bonito alone is good, but it never reaches the depth you taste in a restaurant bowl. Add 1 dried shiitake cap to 2 cups of cold water with your kombu. Soak 30 minutes, then heat to just under a simmer and strain. Kombu and miso both bring glutamate and shiitake brings guanylate, and when those two arrive together, the perceived umami multiplies rather than adds. This is how Japanese restaurants build a broth with that much weight behind it, and it is what my grandma Yuki did. With a jar of dried shiitake stems she would never explain. She just used them and moved on. That is the soup handled. Everything from here lives outside the bowl, and if you only take one thing away, make it number 4, because it turns $3 of vegetables into something people ask you about. Number 19, miso butter, 4 parts softened butter to 1 part miso. Butter on corn or steak or roasted vegetables is fine, but it tastes like butter, and that is all it will ever taste like. Take 1 stick of softened butter, work in 1 tablespoon of white miso with a fork until it is uniform, then roll it in parchment and chill it for an hour. A large share of miso's aroma compounds are fat-soluble, so butter extracts and carries flavor that water leaves sitting in the paste. This is the compound butter in the walk-in of every restaurant serving suspiciously good grilled corn. Number 18, a miso vinaigrette that will not split on you. Homemade dressing separates within 20 minutes and you end up shaking a jar at the table like it is a chore. Whisk 1 teaspoon of white miso into 1 tablespoon of rice vinegar until smooth, then stream in 3 tablespoons of neutral oil while whisking. Miso carries soy phospholipids and partially broken down proteins that park at the boundary between oil and water and hold the emulsion together. This is why Japanese restaurant dressings look glossy and uniform instead of pooling into 2 sad layers. Number 17, replace half the salt in any soup, chili, or stew with miso. If you have been cutting sodium by using less salt and wondering why everything tastes like a hospital tray, you are solving the wrong problem. For a pot serving 6, pull the salt back by half and whisk in 2 tablespoons of red miso in the last few minutes off the boil. Umami compounds lower the threshold at which your tongue registers saltiness, so a lower sodium dish reads as fully seasoned instead of empty. Professional kitchens have leaned on this for years, and it works in chili as well as it works in soup. Number 16, 1 teaspoon of red miso in a pot of long-simmered tomato sauce. Most home tomato sauce tastes bright and thin no matter how long you cook it, and adding more salt only makes it sharper. Stir 1 teaspoon of red miso into a sauce for 4 people about 20 minutes before you pull it off the heat. Tomatoes are already one of the most glutamate-rich foods there is, and stacking a second glutamate source deepens savoriness without introducing a flavor anyone can identify. This is the same principle behind the anchovy an Italian cook melts into a sauce, and Japanese home cooks reach for miso for exactly the same reason. Number 15, thin your miso with sake or mirin and never with water. Miso straight from the tub is too stiff to brush onto anything, so people loosen it with water and then wonder why the glaze tastes weak. Stir 1 tablespoon of sake or mirin into 2 tablespoons of miso until it moves like heavy cream, and use it right away. Ethanol dissolves aroma compounds that water cannot touch and then evaporates off the heat, so you finish with flavor concentrated rather than diluted. This is why every Japanese glaze recipe starts with sake and not with the tap. Number 14, salt and press. Your eggplant 20 minutes before it ever sees a miso glaze. Miso glazed eggplant is a restaurant staple and a home disaster because most versions come out greasy and collapsed on the plate. Have the eggplant, score the flesh in a diamond pattern, salt it generously, and leave it face down on paper towels for 20 minutes before you brush and broil it. Eggplant flesh is mostly air pockets and salting collapses them, so it absorbs a fraction of the oil and turns creamy instead of saturated. This is the step that separates nasu dengaku in a Japanese kitchen from the oily version everybody else makes. Now we move to protein, and this is where miso stops being a seasoning and starts being a tool. Number one lives in this category, and it is a $49 restaurant dish you can make at home for the price of the fish. Number 13, an overnight miso marinade turns cheap cuts tender. Chuck steak and chicken thigh are cheap for a reason, and no amount of resting or careful slicing fixes a genuinely tough piece of meat. Rub 2 tablespoons of miso per pound over the surface, bag it, leave it in the refrigerator for 12 hours, then wipe it clean before it goes in the pan. Koji proteases cut long muscle proteins into shorter fragments over those hours, which is real enzymatic tenderizing and not a flavor trick. This is how Japanese home cooks have been buying the cheap cut and serving the expensive texture for generations. Number 12, miso pulls the fishy smell straight out of mackerel and salmon. Oily fish is the best value at any counter, and most people avoid it because their kitchen smells like a dock for 2 days. Coat the fillets in a thin layer of miso, leave them 30 minutes at room temperature, then rinse and pat completely dry. The compound you smell is trimethylamine, which is alkaline, and miso sitting near a pH of 5 neutralizes it, while the solids absorb the rest. This is how Japanese kitchens have handled oily fish forever, and it is what my grandma Yuki did in a chipped blue bowl at 6 in the morning. I did not appreciate it at the time. Number 11. Scrape the marinade off before the fish hits any heat. This is the step everybody skips, and it is why home miso fish comes out black on the outside and raw in the middle. Wipe the fillet down with your fingers or a paper towel until only a thin film is left and no visible paste remains anywhere on the surface. The sugars that koji enzymes made out of rice starch caramelize around 330 degrees and turn bitter fast, so a thin film browns beautifully while a thick coat burns. Every Japanese restaurant that serves miso marinated fish wipes it down first. Number 10. Reuse the miso bed 2 or 3 times. Every American source will tell you to throw out a used marinade the moment it has done its job. And with miso, that advice costs you money for no reason at all. Strain the used bed through a fine sieve, keep it sealed in the refrigerator, use it only for things you will cook all the way through, and discard it once it turns watery or smells sour. The same 12% salt and low pH that make miso shelf stable in the first place keep the used bed hostile to bacteria. Japanese households have run one bed through a week of fish without giving it a second thought. And since we are already cooking meat, this next one fixes every miso braise that came out tasting like nothing. Number 9. In a braise, the miso goes in for the last 30 minutes, not the first. People put the miso in a pork shoulder braise from the start, cook it 3 hours, and end up with a brown liquid that tastes of salt. Braise the meat in dashi or stock until tender, then whisk in 3 tablespoons of miso and hold it at a bare simmer for the final half hour. Collagen needs hours of moist heat to become gelatin, but miso needs the opposite since long cooking strips its aroma and flattens it into salt. This is the sequence Japanese cooks use for buta no kakuni and every miso braise since. Number 8, bury a block of firm tofu in miso for 2 days and it turns into something like cheese. Plain tofu is the ingredient people buy with good intentions and throw out a week later because it tastes like nothing at all. Pat a block completely dry, wrap it in cheesecloth, coat it in about half a cup of miso, and leave it in the refrigerator for 48 hours. Osmosis pulls water out through the cloth while proteases work their way inward, so you finish with a dense, spreadable block carrying real savory depth. Japanese cooks call this tofu no misozuke, and it has been on izakaya menus for a very long time. Now, here is where most people stop reading, and that is a mistake. Number 7, 1 tablespoon of white miso in your caramel sauce. Homemade caramel almost always tips into a faint burnt bitterness right at the end, and once it is there, you cannot cook it back out. Whisk 1 tablespoon of white miso into 1 cup of finished caramel while it is still warm, until it is completely smooth. Sodium ions actively suppress the receptors that register bitterness, so the burnt edge recedes and the caramel reads sweeter and rounder than it did a second earlier. Japanese pastry kitchens have been doing this with white miso for years, long before it turned up on American dessert menus. Number 6, 2 teaspoons of white miso in chocolate chip cookie dough. Home cookies come out pale and one-dimensional next to bakery cookies, and adding more brown sugar only makes them sweeter. Cream. 2 teaspoons of white miso in with the butter and sugar at the very start, and cut the salt in the recipe by half. You are adding free amino acids to a dough already loaded with sugar, which accelerates Maillard browning in the oven and gives you darker edges and butterscotch depth. This is the same reasoning behind the miso butter cake sitting on high-end Japanese dessert menus. And now the last 5, which are the ones people genuinely pay restaurants for. Number 2 will make you look like you know something nobody taught you, and number 1 is the $49 dish. Number 5, frozen miso soup balls, and you will never buy an instant packet again. Instant miso soup is expensive per serving and tastes mostly of salt, and the real thing feels like too much work on a Tuesday. Mix 1 tablespoon of miso with a half teaspoon of dashi powder and a pinch of dried wakame, wrap each portion in plastic, and freeze. Freezing preserves the volatile aroma, compounds, and the live lactic acid bacteria that boiling destroys, so a frozen ball beats a shelf-stable packet on every measure. Japanese home cooks have made these for decades, and they need 90 seconds and a cup of hot water. Number 4, bury cucumber, carrot, or daikon in a miso bed for 24 hours. Quick pickles taste like vinegar and nothing else, and properly fermented pickles take weeks nobody has. Cut the vegetables into thick batons, pat them bone dry, press them into about a cup of miso, and refrigerate a full day before rinsing. Osmosis drives water out while salt and amino acids drive in, and lactic acid bacteria acidify the surface, so you get pickled, seasoned, and lightly fermented in one step. This is how Japanese households have made misozuke forever, and it is what my grandma Yuki did in a crock she kept behind the kitchen door, and I told her once it was a waste of a good cucumber, and I have since apologized. Number 3. Bloom the miso in hot fat with garlic and ginger before any liquid touches it. This is the difference between miso soup and miso ramen, and it is the technique nobody tells home cooks about. Heat 2 tablespoons of lard in a pan, add minced garlic and ginger, then 3 tablespoons of red miso, and stir constantly for 60 to 90 seconds until it darkens and smells nutty before any broth goes in. You are running Maillard browning directly on the paste, and the fat pulls out aroma compounds water can never reach. This is the tear step in every miso ramen shop in Sapporo, and it is why their broth has a depth you cannot get by stirring miso into stock. Number 2, miso cured egg yolks, grated over hot rice. A raw yolk on rice is a wonderful thing that most Americans will not go anywhere near, and a cooked yolk is simply not the same food. Fill a container with about a cup of miso, press 2 shallow wells into it, drop a pasteurized egg yolk into each one, cover them with a thin layer of miso, and refrigerate for 48 hours. The salt gradient pulls water out of the yolk through pure osmosis until the proteins concentrate into something firm, translucent, and sliceable, closer to cured egg than to egg. Japanese restaurants shave these over rice and pasta, and they cost you the price of 2 eggs. And here we are at number 1, 72 hours in a sweet white miso bed and then 2 minutes under the broiler, which is the dish Nobu charges $49 for. Black cod is expensive, people are frightened of ruining it, and every home version they have tried came out bland or burnt. Whisk a 1/4 cup of sake with a 1/4 cup of mirin, simmer the alcohol off, stir in 1 cup of white miso and a 1/2 cup of sugar, cool it completely, coat the fillets and leave them 3 full days, then wipe them clean and broil 4 inches from the element for 2 to 3 minutes. Proteases tenderize the flesh, salt draws water out and firms it, and the koji sugars build a mahogany Maillard crust in under 3 minutes. This is the most copied dish in modern Japanese restaurant cooking, and even the frozen supermarket version people call a dupe runs $10 for 2 fillets. There you have it, 28 miso tricks. Start with 3 or 4 of them this week. Move the tub out of the fridge, dissolve it in a ladle, kill the heat before it goes in, and put a spoonful in your next pot of tomato sauce. Your cooking will improve immediately. A few of these came from my grandma Yuki, who never explained a single one of them, and who would be quietly pleased they are in your kitchen now. Drop a comment below and tell me which one surprised you the most. And subscribe if you want more deep dive cooking content like this, because there is a lot more coming you do not want to miss.